Assalamu alaikum and a pleasant morning, girls. Today we are going to see a poetry, The Yacht, by William Carlos Williams. Okay. Do you know, girls, what is yacht? Okay. See, I have shared a picture here. It is called the yacht. Okay, a shaped corner of a ship which has canvas. Is it clear? It is called as yacht. See this? This is also an yacht. You just see this image and you fix in your mind while we going through our poetry. Okay, poetical lines. Is it clear? It will help you to understand clearly. Okay, is it clear, ma? I have shown you the two different images. You just fix that in your mind, and by following our poetical lines, you will understand what it is. Is it clear? Okay. Let's see introduction about the author. William Carlos Williams, 1883 to 1963, was born in Rutherford, New Jersey. He began writing poetry while a student at Horace Mann High School, at which time he made the decision to become both a writer and a doctor. Okay, it is a very great thing to decide at that time. Okay, in his schooling he started writing. Okay, that time itself he has decided to become both, that is a writer as well as a doctor. How multi-talented he was, just imagine. Okay, he received his MD from the University of Pennsylvania, where he met and befriended Ezra Pound. Pound became a great influence on his writing, and in 1913 arranged for London publication of William's second collection, The Tempest. Returning to Rutherford, where he sustained his medical practice throughout his life, William began publishing in the small magazines and embarked on a prolific career as a poet, novelist, essayist, and playwright. First, he has received a MD degree from the University of Pennsylvania. Ezra Pound is one of the other writer, very famous writer. Okay, he befriended him, and they both influenced one another, and after that he published his second collection, The Tempest. Okay, and he returned to Rutherford for the medical practice throughout his life. Okay, after that William began publishing small magazines. Okay, which made a prolific career as a poet, novelist, essayist, and a playwright. Okay, such a great personality he is. Okay, continuing to experiment with new techniques of meter and lineation, William sought to invent an entirely fresh and singularity American poet, whose subject matter was centered on the everyday circumstances of life and the lives of common people. Okay, his influence as a poet spread slowly during the 1920s and 1930s. However, his work received increasing attention in the 1950s and 1960s as younger poets. He started working from 1920s to 30s. It gradually increased. Okay, slowly increased and grabs the attention of the younger poets like 1950s and 60s poets. Okay, including Allen Ginsberg, and the Beats were impressed by accessibility of language and his openness as a mentor as a teacher. His major works includes Kona in Hell 1920, Spring and All 1923, Pictures from Bruegel and Mother Poems in 1962, which was awarded the Pulitzer Prize. Okay, one of the famous award he received, the 5-volume epic Patterson 1963 to 1992 and Imaginations. He was such a great imaginative poet. Okay, by reading his poetry, by reading his poetical lines, we can imagine how beautifully he has written the poetry. Okay, line by line we can analyze. Okay, that pictures will come automatically in your mind. Oh, like that the scenery will be, like that the situation will be, like that. Okay, is it clear? Okay. William's health began to decline after a heart attack in 1948 and a series of strokes, but he continued writing up until his death in New Jersey in 1963. Okay, in 1948 he got a heart attack. Because of that, he was not able to work, but he continued writing until his death in New Jersey in the year 1963. Is it clear, ma? Okay. The days we have seen, he was born in Rutherford, New Jersey in 1883. Father was an Englishman from the West Indies. Mother was a Spanish and French heritage, also from the West Indies. Studies abroad before enrolling in Horace Mann High School in NYC. Attended medical school of Pennsylvania, during which time he befriended Hilda Doolittle and Ezra Pound. Okay. And everyday life, he was graduated from medical school in 1906, interned in New York City, married Florence Herman Flossie, and had 2 sons, Paul and William. Published his first book of poetry in 1909, worked in a very busy primary care practice, edited several magazines, and began to write fictions and plays. Okay. He is William Carlos Williams. Okay, is it clear, ma? Now, before the poetical line, we will see a small introduction about the poetry. Is it clear? Okay, in this poem, The Yacht, it is written by William Carlos Williams. This poem was written during the Great Depression of the 1930s and is a critic of the economic system. It is realistic until the 9th stanza, where people appear in a water. The poem becomes an expressionistic allegory of the capitalist system, depicted as a cruel competition among the rich winners at the expense of the losers, especially the poor. The race refers to the human race, transcending time and place. Here, he has written the poem with a Great Depression of the 1930s era. That time, it is a economic system. It is about till the 9th stanza, the people appear in the water. Okay, and after that 10th 11th stanza, he says about the that is the he expresses his grief about the system. Okay, capitalist system, that is the upper class, depicted as a cruel competition among the rich winners at the expense of the losers, that is especially the poor. He says that it is a comparison between the rich and the poor, and also as well as he says about the race, that is human race. Okay, transcending time and place. Williams does not advocate socialism here, but the severity of his critic in his brilliant poem is consistent with the socialist tradition in American literature. Here, the poet William is not advocating about the socialism, but he is telling about the socialist tradition in American literature. Is that clear, ma? The poem is descriptive and narrative through the first 8 stanzas, but becomes nightmarish in the final 3 stanzas. That is, in the first 8 stanza, there is only narration is there. Okay, the poet narrates the story about the yacht and the people in the water. Okay, is it clear, ma? But after that, that is 9, 10 and 11th stanza, it becomes nightmarish, that is very scary. Okay, in the final 3 stanzas. Sea and harbor are very different domains, and the arches that contend in stanza 1 do so with one another and do directly with the ungoverned ocean. Here the arch seem fragile and face outside the harbor, an inimical force that sinks them pitilessly. Okay, their implied delicacy of construction is confirmed when the arches are described as mouth-like in mist and scintillant in the minute brilliance of cloudless days. Okay. It seems that Williams was much concerned about the social and economic trend in the days he lived, especially in 1910s, 20s and 1930s. Indeed, here in this poem, he has much concentrated about the economic and social life on those days. Especially, he lived in the era 1920s, 10s, 20s and 30s. Indeed, in this poem, although Williams celebrates the creative energies of nature and man, all the same time he expresses fear and danger of these energies as a destructive power. The arches typically present this dual perspective of Williams and reveal Williams' attitudes towards society. Is it clear? Okay. Now we'll have the poetical lines. The arch Carlos Williams. The arches, the first stanza. Contained in a sea which the land partly encloses, shielding them from the too heavy blows of an ungoverned ocean which when it chooses. Second stanza. Tortures the biggest hills the best man knows to pit against its beatings and sinks them pitilessly. Moth-like in mist, scintillant in the minute. Here, the poem begins in the literal and ends in the symbolic. Okay, it starts with an unusual device. The little is part of the first line. Sea and harbor. You know, girls, sea and the harbor, right? Yes or no? Sea, you know, and harbor also you know. Where the it is the end of the dead end of the sea, right? It is the where they used to stop their ships, right? Yes or no? Harbor are very different domains, and the arts that content to do so with one another are not directly with the ungoverned ocean. Ungoverned, that is unnoticed or without control ocean. Here the yachts seem fragile and face outside the harbor an inimical force that sinks them pitilessly. Here it's the arches I showed you the ship picture, right? that should come to your mind. Okay, the yachts now seems to be very fragile and face outside there, that is immensely force that sinks them pitilessly. That is the sea is sinking them pitilessly. Pitilessly, that is mercilessly. Okay, pit is a large hole, and holes is about the body of the ship. Okay, is that clear, ma? Okay. Their implied delicacy of constructions is confirmed when the yachts are described as mouth-like. Mouth-like in mist. I'll show you a picture about mouth-like in mist and scintillant. That is scintillant in the minute brilliance of cloudless days. Here, mouth-like is it is a mouth, M-O-T-H. Okay, is it clear, ma? It is mist, that is foggy. Yes or no? That is like a smog. Yes or no, girls? In a winter season, we can see the fog, right? Okay, it is called mist, a cloud fog. And it is scintillant. Scintillant means the glittering. Here you can see that the hummingbird's feathers, it is glittering, right? Yes or no? Okay, that is called scintillant. Okay, these are all things you have to compare with ship. Okay, it is like mouth-like, it is mist, that is filled with fog, and it is scintillant, it is a glittering. Is that clear, ma? Okay, now you have understood what I mean to, right? Yes or no? Okay, here scintillant in the minute brilliance of cloudless days. The occasion is a yacht raced in a bay protected from the two heavy blows. Okay, in the third stanza, billions of cloudless days with broad wailing sails, the glide to the wind tossing green water from their sharp prows, while over them the crew crawls. Bailing sails. Bailing sails means that is the curve outwards. That is that is you can see the ship corner, the curve. Okay, that is bailing sails. Okay, glide is, that is moving smoothly without any noise. That is the yacht is moving, sliding very smoothly without any noise. Okay, toss, that is you are tossing something like here you can that is you are tossing a ship with water, that is throwing something carelessly. Is it clear? In a green water from their sharp prows, front part of the ship. Okay, while over them the crew crawls, that is crawling, girls, right? Yes or no? Okay, here in the fourth stanza, ant-like solicitously grooming them. Solicitous, that is showing interest, grooming to clean them. Realizing, making fast as they turn, lean far over and having caught the wind again, side by side, head for the mark. Now here in this third and fourth stanza, it is integrate a series of concise and precise image with Williams' skillful word. Music, tossing green water from their sharp prows, the crew crawls, ant-like, solicitous, grooming them. The image of the ant is equivalent to that of the ant under the control of great clock. Yes. During the preparations for the race, the speaker is impressed by the physical beauty of the graceful craft with broad bailing sails. Bailing, I told you. that is curving outward. Okay, although the appeal is primarily imagistic, the third and fourth paragraph is full of images, that is imagistic. We have to imagine how it will be. Okay, there is a metaphoric suggestion in the observation that the yachts are surrounded by more clumsy sycophant craft. Okay, sycophant, that is powerful people. That we have observed that the yacht has surrounded by the clumsy sycophant craft, that is powerful people. It is surrounded by the powerful people. Is it clear? Okay. Now, in the fifth and the sixth stanza, in a well-guarded arena of open water, surrounded by lesser and greater craft with sycophant lumbering and filtering follow them, they appear youthful, rare. As the light of a happy eye, live with the grace of all that in the mind is feckless, free and naturally be desired. Now in this he says that the area is now it is a open water and there is a yacht. Now he is telling that it is surrounded by the powerful people, sycophant. Okay, filtering, you know what is filtering. Appear youthful ray. As the light of the happy eye, live with grace of all that in the mind of feckless, that is irresponsible, free and naturally to be desired. The yacht, published in 1935, presents William's dual perspective and social criticism even more strongly, reflecting the Depression era of the 1930s. On the surface level, Williams portrays the various and elegant movement of the yachts, just as he praises the energetic movement of the train. In the well-protected ocean, the yacht appears youthful. Williams not only evokes the youthful energy and beauty of the yacht, but also celebrates man's creative power, fecklessness and freedom. Now, William is comparing the yacht to a youthful, because it is very energetic and he shows the youthfulness, okay, beauty of the yacht also. And as well as he celebrates man's creative power as well as the irresponsibility and freedom. Is it clear? Okay. Now, in the seventh stanza, now the sea which holds them is moody, lapping their glossy sides, as it feeling for some slightest flaw, but fails completely. Today, no race than the wind comes again. The yachts move, jockeying for the start. The signal is set and they are off. Now the waves strike at them, but they are too well made. They slip through, though they take in canvas. Now, in this 7th and 8th stanza, he says, William says, not only evokes the youthful energy and beauty of the yacht, but also celebrates man's creative power, that is irresponsibility as well as freedom. Here, nature, the yacht and man harmoniously reconcile, that is they comes together with each other and the image of the world becomes peaceful and vital. Very important, clear. The yacht move through the waves smoothly despite their attacks, for they are too well made. Okay, because instead of the sea waves is coming across them, but it doesn't harm anything. Okay, it moves very smoothly, okay, despite their attacks, for they are too well made. However, as soon as the yacht move through the waves, they go beyond the control of man, their maker, and becomes the symbol of the social conflict. as well as the wave is coming and hitting the ship, and it goes okay very smoothly, but sometimes it happens, it is out of control from the man or the makers, right? Yes or no? It is a symbol of the social conflict. That you just imagine, girls, that wave is hitting your ship, okay, and your ship is now moving here and there without any control. Now that situation he compares with the social conflicts, that is economic day-to-day life. Is it clear? The wind comes, the wave strikes, the yacht takes in canvas, the sea gets so rough. It is a very beautiful line, that is the wind comes, the air flows, and the wave strikes to the yacht and take it to the canvas. In the yacht you can see one triangle shape, right? That is called canvas, and sea gets so rough. Okay, likewise in our daily life also, if any economic changes occurs, a social conflict occurs, it will destroy our day-to-day routine, okay, day-to-day life. Is it clear? Okay. Now we will see the 9th and 10th stanza. Arms with hands grasping sea to clutch at the prows, bodies thrown recklessly in the way are cut aside. It is a sea of faces about them in agony, in despair, until the horror of the race dawns, staggering the mind. The whole sea becomes an entanglement of watery bodies, lost to the world, bearing what they cannot hold. And the last stanza. Broken, beaten, desolate, reaching from the dead to be taken up, they cry out, failing, their cries rising, in waves still as the skillful yachts pass over. Is it clear? That is the last three stanzas. Indeed, the yachts themselves become an image of a turmoil society in the last three stanzas. The movement of the stars here is not the peaceful, yacht is in the peaceful ocean. The word broken, beaten, and desolate signifies the conditions of the exploited people, and their agonies and their pain are expressed in the cries rising in waves still as the skillful yachts pass over. The skillful yachts here come to represent the prestigious society of skillful bourgeois exploiters, and the skillful bourgeois exploiters pitilessly pass over the helpless poor people. The sea of faces about them in agony, in despair, suggests the agony of the exploited and suppressed poor people. Here, in this 3 paragraph, he compares the yacht and the poor people, and sea as the rich people. Okay, yacht, because the sea waves are hitting, beating, and brokening, desolating the yacht, right? As such, in a human being, that is the rich people also breaks, beats, and desolate the poor people. Okay, and they exploit the suppressed poor people. Is it clear, ma? Okay. Here in this poem, he represents the yacht as a American society. Okay, and he, as well as he says about the yacht as youthful. Okay, because he says the beauty and energy of the yacht, and as well as he shows the symbolism of social conflict. Is it clear? Okay. Okay, girls, is it clear? Here he represents the American society, and he compares that is the poor people and the rich people. Okay, how the rich people wins over the poor people. Okay, is that clear? Okay, girls, thank you, take care, bye bye, Allah Hafiz.